Captain Jake Miller stood on the bridge of the UES Liberty, watching the stars through the wide viewing window. 6 months had passed since humans learned how to travel faster than light. This was their first real journey beyond their home solar system. Jake felt excited and nervous at the same time. The Liberty was Earth's best ship, built with the newest technology humans could make. Commander Lisa Parker stood next to Jake, checking the ship's systems on her computer screen. Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez worked below in the engine room, making sure everything ran smoothly. Communications Officer Amy Foster sat at her station, listening for any signals from space. "Everything looks good, Captain," Lisa said. "We should reach the new star system in 2 hours," Jake nodded. He was proud to lead this mission. After so many years of dreaming about traveling to other stars, humans were finally doing it. The crew of 200 people on the Liberty represented the best of humanity. They came to explore, to learn, and to find new friends among the stars. Amy suddenly looked up from her station. Her face went pale. "Captain, I'm getting something strange on the sensors." "What kind of strange?" Jake asked. "Ships, sir. Really big ships. They just appeared out of nowhere." Jake moved quickly to Amy's station. The screen showed massive objects moving toward them. These ships were huge, bigger than anything humans had ever built. Some looked like floating cities made of dark metal. "How many?" Lisa asked. 12 large ships, sir, and maybe 50 smaller ones." Danny's voice came through the ship's communication system from the engine room. "Captain, something is scanning us. It feels like they're looking right through our hull." Jake made a quick decision. "Amy, try to contact them. Let them know we come in peace." Amy worked at her controls for several minutes. Then she shook her head. "They're not responding to any of our signals, Captain." Suddenly the ship shook. All the lights flickered. A new voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect English but with a strange accent. The voice sounded cold and mean. "Primitive creatures of the third planet, I am War Admiral Kexthul of the Zephyrian Empire. Your species will surrender immediately or face complete destruction." Jake grabbed the communication device. "This is Captain Jake Miller of Earth. We mean no harm. We're explorers looking for peaceful contact." The alien laughed, a harsh sound that made everyone on the bridge feel scared. "Peaceful contact? Your tiny ships and weak weapons amuse me. We have conquered 47 star systems. Every species we meet either becomes our slaves or dies. You have 72 hours to surrender unconditionally." The screen in front of them lit up, showing the alien fleet clearly. The ships were enormous, covered in weapons that glowed with energy. Strange symbols decorated their hulls. They moved through space like giant metal beasts hunting prey. "If you refuse," the alien continued, "we will destroy every human city, every human ship, every human life. Your planet will become another trophy for our empire. We have never lost a battle. We are invincible." The communication ended, leaving the bridge in terrible silence. Lisa was the first to speak. "Captain, we need to get back to Earth immediately." "Agreed," Jake said. "Danny, can we outrun them?" Danny's voice came back quickly. "I can push the engines beyond safe limits. It will be dangerous, but we might make it." "Do it," Jake ordered. The Liberty turned and began racing back toward Earth. Behind them, the alien fleet followed slowly, like cats playing with mice. They were not trying to catch the human ship. They wanted the humans to warn their planet about what was coming. As they traveled, Jake gathered his senior officers in the conference room. The mood was dark and worried. "What did we learn about them?" Jake asked. Amy had been studying the sensor readings. "Their ships are much more advanced than ours. They use some kind of energy shields that our weapons probably can't penetrate. Their smallest ships are bigger than our largest ones." Lisa looked at the tactical information. "They move faster than anything we have. Their weapons seem to use pure energy instead of missiles or bullets." Danny had been thinking about their technology. "Captain, I've never seen power sources like theirs. They generate energy like small stars. We have nothing that comes close." Jake felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Earth had 3 billion people who had no idea what was coming. The human military had weapons designed to fight other humans, not aliens with godlike technology. "How long until we reach Earth?" he asked. 18 hours at maximum speed," Amy replied. "And how long until they arrive?" "Based on their current speed, about 60 hours. Jake did the math in his head. They would have less than 2 days to prepare for an enemy that had never lost a battle, an enemy with technology hundreds of years ahead of humanity, an enemy that saw humans as insects to be crushed. The journey back to Earth felt endless. Jake spent most of the time trying to understand what they had seen. The alien ships moved without visible engines. Their weapons seemed to bend the laws of physics. Their leader spoke as if destroying entire planets was a normal day's work. When Earth finally appeared on the viewing screen, Jake felt both relief and fear. Relief to be home, fear for what was about to happen. The blue and green planet looked so peaceful, so innocent. Most people down there were living normal lives, going to work, spending time with families, not knowing that death was racing toward them from the stars. "Amy, get me Earth Command immediately," Jake ordered. Within minutes, he was talking to Admiral Patricia Stone at Earth Defense Headquarters. Her face appeared on the screen, serious and professional. "Captain Miller, report. Admiral, we've made contact with a hostile alien force. They call themselves the Zephyrian Empire. They've given Earth 72 hours to surrender or face total destruction." Admiral Stone's expression did not change, but Jake could see the shock in her eyes. "How many ships?" "At least 60, sir. Their technology is far beyond ours. They claim to have conquered 47 other star systems." "Recommendations?" Jake took a deep breath. "We need to evacuate as many people as possible and prepare every defense we have. But Admiral, I don't think conventional weapons will work against them." "Understood. Bring the Liberty home as fast as you can. We'll need every detail you can provide." As the communication ended, Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, an unstoppable force was coming to destroy everything he loved. But humans had survived ice ages, wars, diseases, and disasters. Maybe somehow they would find a way to survive this too. General Curtis Brooks stood in the Emergency Command Center, deep beneath the mountains of Colorado. Large screens showed information from around the world as humanity prepared for war. Never before had the entire planet worked together with such desperate purpose. President Helen Davis had declared a global emergency 12 hours ago. Every military force on Earth was now under unified command. Every scientist, engineer, and worker was focused on one goal: finding a way to survive the next 60 hours. Dr. Nina Walsh entered the command center carrying a tablet full of data. She was humanity's leading expert on alien life, though until yesterday she had only studied theories and possibilities. Now she faced the reality of creatures that wanted to kill every human alive. "General Brooks," she said, "I've been studying the sensor data from Captain Miller's encounter." "What did you find?" the general asked. "The aliens are definitely more advanced than us. Their ships use technology we barely understand, but there's something interesting in the data." Dr. Walsh connected her tablet to the main screen. Images of the alien ships appeared along with numbers and charts that showed their capabilities. "Every species the aliens conquered seems to follow the same pattern," she explained. "They all develop technology in predictable ways. Energy weapons, force fields, faster than light travel. All very logical and efficient." General Brooks studied the information. "And humans? We're different. Our technology development has been chaotic, unpredictable. We still use explosive chemicals while also having quantum computers. We build ships with both advanced electronics and simple mechanical backups." Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Hayes joined the conversation. He commanded the military's Special Weapons Development Team. "Doctor, are you saying our mixed-up approach to technology might actually help us?" "Maybe," Dr. Walsh replied. "The aliens have won 47 times because they know how to defeat advanced civilizations. But they might not know how to fight someone who still thinks like cave people while using space-age tools." General Brooks made a decision. "Colonel Hayes, I want you to forget everything we know about modern warfare. Think primitive. Think simple. What weapons could we build that these aliens have never seen before?" Ryan spent the next few hours talking to every unconventional thinker he could find. He spoke with demolition experts, construction workers, miners, and farmers. These people knew how to solve problems with simple tools and basic materials. Captain Kelly Turner had spent 15 years blowing up mountains for mining companies before joining the military. She listened to Ryan's problem and started laughing. "You want to fight space aliens with dynamite?" she asked. "Why not?" Ryan replied. "Their shields probably expect energy weapons or guided missiles. What if we just threw big rocks at them really fast?" Kelly's eyes lit up. "I know how to move mountains, Colonel. Maybe I can move alien ships too." Across the planet, similar conversations were happening. In Japan, engineers started building giant catapults powered by magnetic fields. In Russia, weapons designers created missiles guided by simple mechanical systems instead of computers. In Brazil, pilots trained to fly ships using manual controls when electronics failed. Dr. Walsh made another discovery while studying the alien technology. She called General Brooks at 3 in the morning, too excited to wait for a reasonable hour. "General, I think I understand how their shields work." "Explain," the general said, not caring that he had been awakened. "They use quantum field manipulation to deflect incoming energy. The shields are incredibly sophisticated, designed to stop the most advanced weapons imaginable. But they might be completely useless against something simple." "How simple?" "Think about it this way, General. If you built a door to stop a tank, would it stop a man with a key?" General Brooks understood immediately. "You're saying their defenses are too advanced to handle primitive attacks." "Exactly. Their computers probably can't even recognize simple kinetic weapons as threats." The general immediately contacted Colonel Hayes. "Ryan, I want you to build the most primitive weapons you can imagine. Big bullets fired really fast. Explosive charges that blow up on contact. Simple metal projectiles launched by magnetic force." Ryan grinned. "Sir, I think I know exactly what you mean." Captain Jake Miller's ship, the Liberty, arrived at Earth 36 hours before the alien deadline. Jake met with the military leaders and shared everything he had observed. His crew provided detailed scans of the alien ships and weapons. Commander Lisa Parker had noticed something during their escape. "The alien ships didn't even try to catch us," she reported. "They moved like they were playing with us. I think they see us as entertainment, not a real threat." Chief Engineer Danny Rodriguez had been thinking about the alien power sources. Their ships generate incredible amounts of energy, but they seem to rely completely on high-tech systems. "I didn't see any backup systems or manual controls." Amy Foster had recorded every communication from the aliens. "They sound completely confident, like they've never faced a real challenge." Their leader, Admiral Kexthul, talked like destroying planets was boring work. Dr. Walsh combined all this information into a new understanding. "The aliens have become victims of their own success," she told the assembled military leaders. "They've won so many easy victories that they stopped preparing for difficult ones." General Brooks looked around the room at his officers. "We have less than 30 hours. What's our plan?" Colonel Hayes stood up. "We fight them with everything they don't expect. No energy weapons. No guided missiles. No advanced electronics. Just big, dumb, fast-moving objects that hit really hard." Captain Kelly Turner had been busy building her special weapons. "General, I've got mining charges that can crack open mountains. I've got magnetic launchers that can fire tungsten rods at incredible speeds. I've got construction equipment that can tear apart anything." Engineer Danny Rodriguez raised his hand. "Sir, I've been working with some civilian mechanics. We're converting cargo ships into weapons platforms. Simple systems. Manual controls and weapons that the alien computers won't recognize as dangerous." Dr. Walsh felt a strange excitement building. "General, I think we might actually have a chance. Not because we're stronger than the aliens, but because we're willing to be weaker in smart ways." President Davis joined the meeting by video link from the White House. "General Brooks, the evacuation efforts are proceeding, but we can only move a small percentage of the population to safe areas. Most of humanity is counting on you to find a way to win this fight." General Brooks nodded. "Madam President, we're going to give these aliens something they've never encountered before. Humans who refuse to fight fair." As the final hours before the alien arrival counted down, people all over Earth worked with desperate energy. Factory workers built simple weapons using old designs. Pilots practiced flying without computer assistance. Soldiers trained with tools that their grandfathers would have recognized. The plan was crazy, primitive, and completely unpredictable, which was exactly what General Brooks was counting on. Admiral Kexthul stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Conqueror, as his fleet emerged from hyperspace near the third planet. The blue and green world hung before them like a ripe fruit waiting to be picked. Around him, his officers prepared for another easy victory. "War Admiral," his tactical officer reported, "the primitive creatures have assembled a defensive fleet, approximately 400 vessels of various sizes." Kexthul laughed, his 3 eyes glowing with amusement. 400? "The largest fleet we faced was the Korthans with 800 ships. This will be over quickly." The Zephyrian war fleet was a sight of terrible beauty. 60 massive ships powered by quantum cores that burned like captured stars. Their hulls shimmered with energy shields that had never been penetrated. Their weapons could crack planets and boil oceans. Below on Earth, General Brooks watched the alien fleet approach on his command screens. The sight was terrifying, but he felt oddly calm. Everything now depended on whether humans could think differently enough to survive. "All units, this is command," he broadcast to the human fleet. "Remember, fight stupid. Fight simple. Fight like our ancestors who conquered this planet with rocks and sticks." Captain Steve Johnson commanded the Iron Horse, a converted mining ship that looked nothing like a military vessel. His crew consisted of miners, construction workers, and mechanics who understood machines better than soldiers understood war. "Iron Horse to fleet," Steve broadcast. "We're beginning our approach run." Steve's ship carried no missiles, no energy weapons, no guidance computers. Instead, it held hundreds of tungsten rods, each one a simple metal projectile that weighed as much as a car. Magnetic launchers borrowed from cargo systems would fire these rods at incredible speeds. The Zephyrian fleet detected the approaching human ships and responded with casual arrogance. Energy beams lanced out, destroying the first wave of human fighters with ease. Missiles launched by the humans were swatted aside by alien point defense systems. "Pathetic," Admiral Kexthul muttered. "Their weapons are even weaker than expected." Then Captain Steve's ship reached firing range. The Iron Horse opened up with its magnetic launchers, sending a stream of tungsten rods toward the nearest alien cruiser. The projectiles moved so fast they appeared as streaks of light. The Zephyrian shields, designed to deflect energy weapons and guided missiles, offered little resistance to simple high-velocity metal. The first rod punched through the shield and slammed into the alien hull with the force of a falling meteor. On the alien bridge, alarms began screaming. The tactical officer stared at his displays in confusion. "War Admiral, we're taking damage from kinetic projectiles. The shields aren't stopping them." Kexithul's expression changed from amusement to concern. "Impossible. What kind of primitive species still uses solid projectiles?" More tungsten rods hammered the alien ship. The hull began to crack under the repeated impacts. Emergency lights flashed as the ship's systems tried to compensate for the unexpected damage. Commander Lisa Parker led Squadron 7, a group of converted cargo haulers loaded with chemical explosives. These were not sophisticated weapons with guidance systems and proximity sensors. They were simple bombs designed to explode on contact. "Squadron 7, attack pattern Delta," Lisa commanded. "Hit them hard and close." Her ships charged toward the alien fleet, absorbing energy weapon fire as they closed distance. Several human ships exploded, but the survivors reached their targets. Chemical bombs detonated against alien hulls, creating fireballs that no energy shield could stop. The aliens had never faced weapons this primitive. Their defense computers could not classify the threats properly. Systems designed to intercept guided missiles could not track simple explosive charges thrown like rocks. Major Tony Garcia commanded the boarding operations from his ship, the Hammer. His plan was so crazy that it might actually work. Instead of trying to cut through alien hulls with energy weapons, his teams carried cutting torches, sledgehammers, and crowbars. "Boarding Team Alpha, prepare for hull breach," Tony announced as his ship latched onto an alien vessel. The human soldiers began cutting through the alien hull using simple acetylene torches. The alien ship's automated defenses were programmed to resist energy-based boarding attempts, not manual cutting tools that worked like giant can openers. Within minutes, Tony's team broke through into the alien ship. They found themselves facing Zephyrian warriors in powered armor, creatures 8 feet tall with built-in weapons and shields. The aliens opened fire with energy weapons that could melt steel. But Tony's team ducked behind simple metal barriers and fought back with weapons the aliens had never encountered: shotguns loaded with steel pellets, explosive charges triggered by timers, and grenades that filled the corridors with smoke and metal fragments. The Zephyrian warriors, trained to fight high-tech opponents, struggled against enemies who fought like barbarians. Their sophisticated targeting systems could not lock onto humans who hid behind simple barriers and moved unpredictably. Back on the flagship, Admiral Kexthul watched his fleet taking damage from weapons that should not have been effective. His advanced sensors showed human ships that barely qualified as space-capable, carrying weapons that belonged in a museum. "How are they hurting us?" he demanded. His science officer studied the readings. "War Admiral, their weapons are so primitive that our defense systems don't recognize them as threats. Our shields are calibrated for energy weapons and guided projectiles, not simple kinetic impacts." Then recalibrate the shields. That will take hours, sir. The systems were designed for known threats, not whatever this is. Captain Kelly Turner commanded a squadron of construction mechs converted for combat. These machines were designed to tear down buildings and move heavy objects, not fight space battles. But in Kelly's hands, they became something the aliens had never imagined. Her mech squadron used giant wrenches to tear pieces off alien ships. They employed industrial saws to cut through hull plating. They grabbed alien fighters with mechanical claws and crushed them like tin cans. The sight was so absurd that even some humans could barely believe it. Giant construction robots were fighting advanced alien warships using tools from a hardware store. Engineer Danny Rodriguez had found a way to turn alien technology against itself. His team had captured several alien quantum cores and connected them to simple copper wiring and magnetic field generators. The combination created devastating electromagnetic pulses that fried alien electronics. "This is Engineer Team 5, Danny reported. "We've disabled 3 alien ships using their own power sources. The quantum cores are incredibly powerful but completely unshielded against basic electromagnetic interference." Admiral Kexthal realized that his Invincible fleet was losing to creatures who fought with Stone Age tactics and Iron Age weapons. The humans were not trying to match Zephyrian technology. Instead, they were exploiting weaknesses that no civilized species would think to attack. "All ships fall back to defensive positions," he commanded. "We need time to understand what we're facing." But General Brooks was not going to give him that time. The human fleet pressed their attack, using every primitive weapon they could deploy. Mining charges, construction equipment, simple projectiles, and manual tools were destroying the most advanced military force in the galaxy. The battle raged for 6 hours, unlike anything the universe had ever seen. Highly advanced aliens fought desperately against humans who refused to use advanced tactics. Admiral Kexthal stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His mighty fleet, which had conquered 47 star systems without losing a single major vessel, was being torn apart by creatures using tools that belonged in a primitive workshop. Half of his ships showed significant damage. 3 smaller vessels had been completely destroyed, not by advanced weapons but by humans with cutting torches and explosives. His warriors, elite soldiers trained in the most sophisticated combat techniques, were being defeated by enemies who fought with crowbars and hammers. "War Admiral," his communications officer reported. "High Command is requesting a status update." Kexthal growled in frustration. How could he explain to the Zephyrian Empire that humans were winning a battle using construction equipment? "Tell High Command that we are encountering unexpected resistance. We require additional analysis time." Meanwhile, Dr. Nina Walsh worked frantically in her laboratory aboard the research station Discovery. She had been studying captured alien technology for 18 hours straight, trying to understand how to exploit the weaknesses that human forces had accidentally discovered. "General Brooks," she called over the communication link, "I think I figured out why our primitive weapons are working so well." General Brooks connected to her from the command center. Around him, staff officers tracked the ongoing battle while coordinating supply runs to the human fleet. "Explain, Doctor." "The Zephyrian technology is incredibly advanced, but it's also incredibly specialized," Nina said, holding up pieces of alien equipment. "Their computers are designed to recognize and counter known threats. Energy weapons, guided missiles, sophisticated electronics. But they have huge blind spots." She pointed to a damaged alien sensor array. "This scanner can detect a nuclear warhead from 1,000,000 miles away, but it can't properly classify a simple metal rod fired by a magnetic launcher. The computer doesn't know what to do with threats it doesn't recognize." Colonel Ryan Hayes had been coordinating the special weapons teams. His caveman squadrons were having remarkable success against alien technology that cost more than entire planets. "Dr. Walsh," Ryan said, "my teams are reporting something interesting. The aliens seem confused by our tactics. They keep trying to use sophisticated countermeasures against simple attacks." "That makes perfect sense," Nina replied. "They've spent centuries developing responses to advanced civilizations. They've never had to fight someone who deliberately chooses primitive solutions." Captain Jack Turner was leading one of the most successful human squadrons. His ships were converted mining vessels and construction mechs, crewed by people who had never been soldiers but understood how to make simple machines do impossible things. "Command, this is Turner Squadron," Jack reported. "We've disabled 2 alien cruisers using industrial equipment. The aliens can't seem to adapt to our tactics." His team had been using modified construction mechs to physically grab alien fighters and crush them. The sight of giant yellow excavators fighting sleek alien warships would have been funny, if it were not so effective. Engineer Danny Rodriguez had made the most important breakthrough of the battle. Working with a team of civilian mechanics and electronics experts, he had found a way to turn alien quantum cores into weapons that destroyed alien ships. "General," Danny called from his workshop on the converted cargo ship Anvil, "I've got something that will change this fight completely." "What do you have?" General Brooks asked. "The alien quantum cores generate massive amounts of energy, but they have no protection against simple electromagnetic interference. I've been connecting them to basic copper wire and creating magnetic field generators. When I activate the fields, the cores overload and explode." Danny showed his improvised device to the camera. It looked like something built in a garage, which was essentially what it was. Simple wiring, basic magnets, and mechanical switches controlled alien technology worth more than Earth's entire economy. "How many can you build?" the general asked. "Give me every electrician, mechanic, and handyman you can find, and I'll build 100 of them by tomorrow." Admiral Kexthul was facing the first real crisis of his military career. His tactical officers could not explain how primitive humans were defeating advanced Zephyrian technology. His science teams had no answers for weapons that should not work. "War Admiral," his chief science officer reported, "we have analyzed the human attack patterns. They appear to be deliberately avoiding the use of advanced technology. Why would any species choose inferior weapons?" Kexthul demanded. "Unknown, sir. But their primitive weapons are exploiting design flaws in our defense systems. Our shields and sensors were never intended to handle such basic threats." The worst part for Kexthul was that the humans seemed to be enjoying themselves. Intercepted communications showed human soldiers laughing and joking as they destroyed alien ships with tools from construction sites. Captain Jake Miller had taken command of a special strike force, designed to test the most extreme human tactics. His target was Admiral Kexithul's flagship, the Eternal Conqueror, the most powerful ship in the Zephyrian fleet. "Strike Team 1, prepare for final approach," Jake announced to his small fleet of converted cargo vessels. His ships carried the most primitive weapons that Danny Rodriguez could devise. Simple explosive charges with mechanical timers, tungsten rods fired by magnetic launchers, and boarding teams equipped with cutting torches and sledgehammers. The Eternal Conqueror detected the approaching human ships and responded with overwhelming firepower. Energy beams that could destroy mountains lanced out toward Jake's fleet. But the human ships were too small and moved too unpredictably for the alien targeting systems to lock onto effectively. "All ships, execute attack pattern chaos," Jake commanded. The human vessels scattered in random directions, using no tactical formation that alien computers could predict. Some ships flew in spirals, others moved in straight lines, and a few simply tumbled end over end while still firing their weapons. The aliens had never faced enemies who fought without plans, without formations, without any logical strategy. Their tactical computers tried to predict human movements and failed completely. Jake's ship, the Liberty, reached the alien flagship and launched its special weapon, a boarding pod designed by Captain Kelly Turner. The pod was essentially a giant drill powered by construction equipment motors. It bored through the alien hull like a mining machine cutting through rock. Major Tony Garcia led the boarding team that followed. His soldiers carried no energy weapons, no advanced electronics, no sophisticated equipment. They had cutting torches, explosive charges, crowbars, and sledgehammers. The Zephyrian warriors defending the ship were equipped with armor that could stop energy weapons and shields that deflected advanced projectiles. But their equipment offered little protection against humans who attacked with industrial tools used like medieval weapons. Tony's team fought their way through the alien ship using tactics that military historians would later describe as advanced barbarism. They cut through bulkheads with torches, smashed electronics with hammers, and used explosive charges to blow holes in whatever got in their way. Admiral Kexthul found himself trapped on his own bridge as human. Soldiers approached using weapons that his security systems could not stop. For the first time in his military career, he faced the possibility of defeat. "All ships, this is Admiral Kexthul," he broadcast to his fleet. "Prepare for strategic withdrawal. We need time to develop new countermeasures." But General Brooks was not going to let the aliens escape to plan a second attack. Human ships swarmed around the Zephyrian fleet, using Danny's electromagnetic weapons to disable alien engines and prevent them from entering hyperspace. The tide of battle had turned completely. The most advanced military force in the galaxy was being defeated by humans who refused to fight fairly. Admiral Kexthul sat in the ruins of his flagship's bridge, surrounded by human soldiers who had captured him using nothing more sophisticated than crowbars and determination. Major Tony Garcia stood over the alien commander, holding a simple steel wrench that had been more effective than any energy weapon. "Admiral," Tony said, "your fleet is defeated. Will you surrender, or do we need to continue this the hard way?" Kexthul looked around at his destroyed command center. Human soldiers had torn through his ship's defenses using tools that his ancestors might have recognized. The most advanced military technology in the galaxy had been defeated by creatures who fought like primitive savages. "I surrender," he said quietly, "but I do not understand how this is possible." Around Earth, the remains of the Zephyrian fleet hung dead in space. 38 of their 60 ships had been destroyed or disabled. The survivors had lost all power and were drifting helplessly while human forces surrounded them. General Brooks stood in the command center, watching reports come in from across the battle zone. After 12 hours of impossible combat, humanity had won the first victory against the Zephyrian Empire in their 300-year history of conquest. President Helen Davis joined him by video link from the White House. Her face showed exhaustion and relief in equal measure. "General, what's our status?" "Madam President, the alien fleet has surrendered. We have approximately 2,000 alien prisoners and enough captured technology to keep our scientists busy for decades. Casualties: 147 human ships destroyed, about 3,000 personnel killed or wounded. Considering what we faced, our losses were remarkably light." Dr. Nina Walsh entered the command center carrying a tablet full of analysis data. She had been studying the battle results and alien prisoners for hours, trying to understand why humans had succeeded where 47 other species had failed. "General," she said, "I think I know why we won." "Explain." Nina connected her tablet to the main display screen. Charts and diagrams appeared showing technological development patterns across different species. Every civilization the Zephyrians conquered followed predictable development paths. She began. They advanced from primitive tools to energy weapons to space travel in logical steps. Each new technology replaced the old one completely. She pointed to a chart showing human development. "But humans are different. We never completely abandoned old technologies. We still use wheels, levers, fire, and simple machines even though we have quantum computers and faster-than-light travel." General Brooks studied the information. "You're saying our chaotic approach to technology gave us an advantage?" "More than that," Nina replied. "The Zephyrians spent centuries preparing to fight advanced civilizations. They never considered that someone might choose to fight with primitive weapons by choice." Captain Jake Miller arrived at the command center after spending 6 hours helping to secure alien prisoners. His boarding team had captured Admiral Kexthul's flagship using weapons that belonged in a museum. "General," Jake reported, "the alien admiral wants to speak with our leadership. He says he has information about the Zephyrian Empire that might be important." An hour later, Admiral Kexthul sat in a conference room aboard the human space station Unity. His 3 eyes studied the human leaders who had accomplished the impossible. President Davis participated by video link while General Brooks, Dr. Walsh, and several military commanders sat around the table. "Admiral Kexthul," President Davis began, "you said you had information for us." The alien commander nodded slowly. "Your species has achieved something that no one in the galaxy believed possible. You have defeated the Zephyrian Empire in open combat. What does that mean for us?" General Brooks asked. "It means everything will change," Kexthul replied. "For 3 centuries, the Empire has expanded by conquering species that could not resist our technology. You have proven that advanced technology can be defeated by unconventional thinking." Dr. Walsh leaned forward. "How many species are under Zephyrian control?" 47 star systems containing 63 sentient species. "All of them will hear about your victory within days. Some will try to rebel against our rule." "And your response?" President Davis asked. Kexthul was quiet for a long moment. "I do not know. The Empire has never faced this situation before. We have always won through technological superiority. Your tactics have made our greatest strength into a weakness." Captain Jake Miller had been thinking about the implications. "Admiral, what will you tell your government about us?" "The truth," Kexthel replied. "That humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, not because of your technology, but because of your refusal to be limited by it." Over the following days, negotiations continued between human and Zephyrian representatives. The defeated alien fleet became the foundation for an unexpected peace treaty. The Zephyrians agreed to withdraw from human space and grant Earth independence. In exchange for human knowledge about unconventional warfare tactics, Dr. Walsh led a team of scientists studying the captured alien technology. Instead of trying to copy it exactly, they focused on combining alien advances with human ingenuity. The result was hybrid technology that used both sophisticated systems and simple backups. "The key," Nina explained to a gathering of Earth's top engineers, "is to never rely completely on any single approach. Advanced technology is powerful, but simple solutions are reliable." Engineer Danny Rodriguez became the leader of Earth's new defense technology program. His workshops combined alien quantum cores with human mechanical systems, creating weapons that worked even when electronics failed. "Always have a manual override," became his motto. "Always have a backup plan, and always remember that sometimes the best solution is the simplest one." Captain Kelly Turner was promoted to admiral and given command of Earth's first interstellar defense fleet. Her ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Advanced alien technology controlled by simple human systems, crewed by people who understood both quantum physics and basic mechanics. 6 months after the battle, President Davis stood before the United Nations to address the world about humanity's new place in the galaxy. "We have learned that our greatest strength is not our technology or our weapons," she said. "Our strength is our ability to think differently, to find simple solutions to complex problems, and to refuse to give up when faced with impossible odds." Admiral Kexthel, now a guest rather than a prisoner, watched the speech from the observation deck of the space station Unity. Major Tony Garcia stood beside him, the two former enemies having developed an unexpected friendship. "Do you understand now why you lost?" Tony asked. Kexthel nodded slowly. "You won because you were willing to be foolish. The Empire forgot that sometimes wisdom looks like stupidity to those who are too clever for their own good." The story of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy faster than light. On 47 worlds, enslaved species began to remember that advanced enemies could be defeated by those brave enough to fight with rocks and sticks. Earth's children grew up learning both quantum mechanics and how to use simple tools. Schools taught computer programming alongside basic carpentry. Military academies studied energy weapons and hand-to-hand combat with equal intensity. The human motto became, "When in doubt, use a bigger hammer." And in the depths of space, the Zephyrian Empire began to prepare for a galaxy where technological superiority was no longer enough to guarantee victory. They had learned too late that sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one who brings primitive weapons to an advanced fight.